What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 120 of Park to Prem here with Tower Town. Today, we are going to be kicking off our European campaign, our first ever game in Europe. It feels very, very important. We're going to be taking on Basel. Not the most romantic of trips, I suppose, but we're going to be hopping on a plane to Switzerland and taking down Maury Bamba and the boys. They've actually got a few familiar faces that I'm sure you'll be familiar with. Hernandez, he's got a few goals against us before. Nygren as well is a Swedish wonderkid in this year's game. And Bamba, if I'm not mistaken, and I hope I'm not here, starts at Roma, I want to say. Indeed he does. And well, of course, if you watched last episode, you already know. But if you didn't watch last episode, you don't know. In our group, we have got Roma, Vitesse, and Basel. I hope I'm saying all those teams' names correctly. It's going to be tricky. There's a few big teams in there. Ultimately, you know, we go into this European competition without any kind of coefficient. We don't have any pre-seeding, with this being our first year in any kind of European football. So we knew it was a potentially tricky draw. However, I feel like when you look at some of the groups that we've avoided, we've actually got off quite lightly, which is good to be able to say. But yeah, it's going to be big, but since you were last here, there has been games played. Of course, yesterday's video was the national team management stuff with England. I know that national team management isn't for everyone. However, I recommend you give it a shot, because I do feel like we're at a really interesting point as England manager with a lot of the, you know, the golden generation of England players. A lot of the wonder kids at the start of the game now retiring and kind of transitioning through. And of course, if you're a Sunny Best fan, plenty to get excited about. But meanwhile, in the league, we've been busy. We've played 4 games so far since the Southampton game, and it's been largely good results. Maybe not the best defensive clean sheet record, but you know what? In everything else, we've done very well. And in the first of the games we had, we were away from home against Aston Villa. Now, worth remembering, Aston Villa taken over by a tycoon in this save game. They spend a lot more money than our tycoon does. And in this game, they went 2 goals up. That was following Soretta being sent off for a straight red after 6 minutes. That's what you love to see. And, well, we found ourselves 2 goals down. And you wonder at that point, are we in for a long afternoon? You know, is this just going to be one of those games where the sending off ruins it for us? And, well, it wasn't. We made the most of set pieces. Jackie Ogre, I'm going to be calling him the Ogre, with the first goal for us. The Frenchman, a player who I know many of you raised an eyebrow at. I've got faith in him to come big for us. He came big for us here. And then a long throw flicked on by Shvetsov, if I'm not mistaken. Dylan Turnbull lurking at the back post, continuing on with his great goal-scoring form that he's had so far this year to get us a second, and that is how it finished. We then took on Everton, which you kind of look at this and see, oh, 4-3, it must have been an absolute cracker. It was kind of one of those 4-3s where it actually wasn't that exciting. We were 3 goals up. They pegged us back. They pegged us back once more. We got 4-2 in the lead, and then they scored right at the end of the game. But a fiercely competitive game. Lazarus playing his new box-to-box midfielder role with a goal in this game. And I'll tell you what, I know that, again, there were questions raised about playing him at centre mid, but so far, I've been very, very impressed with what we've seen from him. Of course, has played right wing back for us for a few years now, and I feel like we owed him a chance, I guess, at centre mid, and so far, as one of the big influences in the dressing room, he's leading by example. He's been absolutely superb to start the year. That was a very good away win. Anyway, following on from this, we beat Bournemouth 1-0. Not the most convincing of results. Ox with the only goal in this game. Leskinen picking up man of the match. He has been absolutely great, the Finn. We'll talk more about him in a second, because he was ever present in the next game against Norwich City, away from home. Of course, a team that I feel like whenever we play, I'm going to bring up the fact that we beat them. Was it 8-1 or 8-0? It was a lot of goals back in the day. Not as quite as many this time, but it was a 5-2 win. Leskinen, as you've already seen, with a superb little free kick. And then there was a flurry of goals just before half-time. They actually pegged us back before Shvetsov and Soretta got on the score sheet. Some great balls into the box by Leskinen here. Obviously, he has now dropped deeper as a deep-line playmaker in our system from his kind of previous position as box-to-box midfielder, but still on all the set pieces, and he has just been absolutely amazing for us. In this game, we looked really, really solid. GCL got on the score sheet, and in fact, actually, I misremember, it was 3-2 at half-time. They put up a fight to begin with, but in the second half, we ran away with it. GCL with one, and then Jackie Ogre, we're calling him the Ogre, or Jack. It feels weird calling someone else Jack as a Jack. Maybe I can get over it. Either way, 5 different goal scorers, 5-2 it finished. I can't even remember that game, because it was one of those ones where the goals just kind of flew in. I'm sure you have them. You lose count, and the big thing is, we got a win in the end. And well, if we look at the Premier League table, which we can see here. We currently sit in third. Now, it's worth noting we've not played any of the teams around us. I'm not going to get too carried away. However, we have played Southampton, we have played Norwich, we have played Everton, so we have played a few of the teams outside of the big dogs, the teams that we really need to be beating, I feel like, to secure a top half finish and indeed be pushing for a top 7 spot that would be a European place. But no, undefeated so far, a few teams also following that trend, so we can't get too excited yet. I do feel like this month is going to be a bit of an interesting test for us. You can see we've got Basel today, we've got Crystal Palace and then Chelsea in the EFL Cup before Man City and Roma, which I think we're going to do as a double header. Man City, of course, they beat us in the FA Cup final last year. I would like some revenge. And Roma at home. That's a pretty good first ever game, I feel like, as a home fixture in European competition. It doesn't get much better than playing a historical team like Roma. So, yeah, we're going to do that as a double. But before we get into those doubles, we've got to get the business done here. We need to get off to a winning start. Basel are not going to be easy. And, well, in terms of the team selection, to be honest, what I perceived as my best 11 going into things hasn't changed a great deal. I will be honest, after Soretta got sent off against Aston Villa, I was a little bit annoyed. I did bring in Douglas for a few games. Douglas, who has continued to improve at a really steady rate. I really like Douglas as a player. However, he hasn't been putting in the performance on the pitch, and I've been really, really impressed by Oga and Soretta's performances together. Soretta, he's got to get over that red card and his general recklessness, but if he can resolve that, I feel like we're off to a really good start in terms of building from the back. 2 youngsters. I feel like when you look at Soretta and consider we bought him for £170,000, that's one of the best signings we've made so far in our time here at Tower. It's absolutely insane what we've managed there. Mateus Aurelio has a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He is the big earner at the club, was a big spend. So far, 6.98. It's not the worst average rating, but he's not having super standout performances, and he is in the shadow of Ox, who of course is playing out on the left-hand side for us. That said, we will give him the benefit of the doubt. He's coming into a new system. He needs to get to grips with it. Leskinen, I've already talked about, but he has 5 assists in 5 games, as well as a goal to his name. Just looks absolutely superb. So well-rounded, the Finn, and yeah, I should say Jarno, shouldn't I? Roll the R, Jack. Jarno, Leskinen. I think that sounded Finnish to me. You can be the answerer of that. But yeah, I really, really like him. He's becoming a second favourite behind Andre, I feel like. 2 incredible centre mids, both 21 years old. Position sorted for 10 years. We don't need any more centre mids. We're absolutely fine. Of course, we've got Lazarus playing alongside Andre. And then up top, it is the standard trio. I have been giving Palazzolo fairly, frequent opportunities on off the bench. He's not wowed us like he did in his first game at the club. But of course, the great news with this guy is he's actually quite happy just to be a squad player. I'm sure you've experienced it. Sometimes you can end up with 3 strikers and you've promised them all that they're going to be first team players and you're constantly feeling like you're juggling happiness. That's been something that I've been very mindful to avoid here. So far it's working out in our favour. Anyway, you can see a few of the other players here. I did forget last episode to mention the fact that Dean Henderson has joined us. Walton retired at the end of last year, so I needed a new second choice keeper. At 35 years old, he has seen better days. He's not really a perfect backup, but given the fact he's homegrown in nation and he's mildly competent, that's good enough for me. I mean, ultimately, Morrigan is kind of nailed down now as our regular starting keeper. I'm someone who, as you know, I don't play with a goalkeeper on the bench. I'm willing to risk it for a chocolate biscuit. I kind of have a similar mindset, I suppose, when it comes to the backup goalkeeping position. That's not to say that we don't have goalkeepers, though. We've got, some really, really good ones. We've got Dlamini, or Glamini, as I believe it said. He's playing for Celta Vigo. If you're sat here thinking, what is FC Barna, Jack? That was a series I did earlier on in the year. I never reverted back my logo pack, but it's a little Easter egg. We'll remember FC Barna, but you can see here he's on loan at Celta Vigo, playing some regular first-team football. Not doing great, but at 19 years old, regular football is absolutely great for him. Artem Koval, who is homegrown at club, and I feel like this guy is ready-made to be the third choice keeper for many, many years to come, is on loan at Millwall. He got promoted with them last year. He's not done particularly well this year so far, but of course newly promoted. It's always going to be a challenge. He's not the craziest keeper, but he's got some potential. We've also got Steve Thomas, who's also on loan at a team who I thought were playing in the Championship. They're not. They're playing in League One. It's Northampton. They've yo-yoed around. Another player with some potential, capped at England's under-19 level. And actually, I have been busy, as you guys know, in the transfer window, signing players for the future. I have kind of made a mini promise in my head that I am going to slow down a little bit, because it is getting a little bit crazy. but I've got one goalkeeper I have to show you. I'm very, very excited about him. His name is Pavli Nikolovic. I think that's how you'd say it. He is, as you can see, Serbian, plays for Red Star Belgrade. He's playing as their starter in some games, which is great to see. 16 years old, insane potential. I do wonder if he has generated, as a side effect to the fact we have added Serbia as a playable league. As you know, we did that because our affiliate that is called Kukariki. In my mind, I know that's not how it's said. I know there's loads of Serbian people who get annoyed. It's like Chucharici. It's Kukariki. You can't... it's Kukariki. But with us adding in that league, he's popped up. We have actually got a few other goalkeepers, which probably feeds into the whole thing where maybe I don't need too many more goalkeepers. 16 years old, playing for the Norwegian under-21s. And we've also got Simon Carlson, who is Danish, and he's playing for the Danish under-21s at 16. I have really taken the shotgun approach here, but I feel like that's got to be part of the long-term plan. Ultimately, our wage budget is still the third lowest in the Premier League. I know I've seen loads of people saying, Jack, you need to save up all the money you can get and then go and get Mike Frost from Manchester City. Mike Frost is on what is more than quarter of our wage budget. Obviously, I would love to sign him for £200 million and then make him our star striker. I'm never going to have a wage budget big enough to stomach that unless I can start to do some wheeling and dealing. Ultimately, you know, a lot of the big clubs in the Premier League, yes, they get loads of TV money like everyone else, but actually one of the big difference makers in terms of finances is just the ticket sales. You know, they're selling out their stadium with 70,000 people. We have a stadium that holds 14,000 people. And across a season, across all European games, that is a massive, massive difference in terms of the revenue coming in through ticket sales, which is always going to be a bottleneck for us unless we can get this upgraded down the line. So, yeah, just be aware of that, I suppose. I know there's some people sometimes, maybe you've not done a save game like this, you wouldn't know that that's a thing, but that is factor that I have to be aware of, is the fact that until we have a bigger stadium or until we can start to have an academy where we're throwing out loads of world-class players and the ones that aren't quite good enough I throw away and we still get £50 million for them. 50 million would be fun. I don't think we'll actually get that much for them. But say we have an academy, it's built up, we've got crazy youngsters coming through, and the ones who make the first team, fantastic. The ones who don't quite make it, you sell on for £30 million. You know, that's what we sold CC for in the summer. I don't feel like that's an unreasonable amount. You can quite quickly see how, you know, investing £2 million in a goalkeeper who is 16, the long-term investment is worth it down the line with the money that can possibly be returned, even if only one of these three players turns out to be a player we can sell on for a load of money. Anyway, I don't want to go into the economics of Football Manager because I know for some people, they say I talk too much. Can you believe that? I can, funnily enough. So let's get into the game. You've seen the team. It's the standard starting 11. We've been wheeling. We've been dealing. I will say that on Patreon, obviously we have a goal set where we will bring back the Academy series, which is like bonus episodes, essentially. Kind of longer podcasty ones for those of you who love to hear me talk, where I just go through the Academy of the team that I'm managing. You know, I do it on a once a season basis, sometimes a little less frequent than that. Just give you a nitty-gritty update talking about the players who maybe are going to make it into the first team, those that I'm starting to think about how I'm going to sell them on. I do feel like they're fun to do, but ultimately they take up a lot of my time. So I have set it as a Patreon goal. If that sounds interesting, go and check out the Patreon page. It's linked below and there's loads of other benefits there. I must say, actually, obviously, you're watching this, it is the start of May. Massive thank you to anyone who's pledged on Patreon. We had almost 50 of you in the last month, which is absolutely nuts. I really can't stress it enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm hoping our players are going to, reward your faith in me by rewarding the faith that I have in them. I mean, that didn't make sense, did it? Leskinen, just do your thing. Whip it in. Soretas, that don't get sent off sillily. I was half expecting to kung fu kick the keeper in the head. Anyway, I've talked for ages to start this episode, and then we've not had a highlight for the first however long, which is concerning us. Hamoud has an effort. I mean, it's like the game took pity on me. It's like, maybe we should show them something to end the first half. That shot was not worth showing me. It's 0-0 at the break, but we have been the better team. I'm going to tell the players I'm not happy. We're going to get a bit shouty. Mateus Radio, by the way, has a very long throw. You've seen it there. Oh my word, Dylan Turnbull almost got it into the back of the net. Great save by the keeper to tip it round the near post. Jarno, what can you do? He whips it in. I thought the ogre was going to get there at the near post. He's pretty decent in the air as the Frenchman. Andre, where are you going to go? He's going to put it back out wide to Jarno. What can you do, Jarno? No, nothing. Nothing is the What have I just seen? Just to check, I am on key highlights. Excellent. If anyone knows what the game was trying to show me there, I would love to find out more, because I don't know what it was trying to show me. Anyway, Lazarus, inside to Jarno. Everything going through him right now. Andre, have a go. Jarno, you don't have a go. Andre has it in his locker, I feel like, from past experiences. Anyway, Mateus Aurelio, 19 acceleration, keeping the ball in play. Crosses it in near post, cleared away. Not many people in the world get on the end of that ball that we've just seen Aurelio get on the end of. He has got, I think, 19 acceleration and 18 sprint speed. I believe he's what they call in Brazil rapid. I don't know. Andre's won the ball. He's pretty quick too. Turnbull tucks it away. Our first goal in Europe ever, coming from a home-produced player. That is really cool to be able to say. I've done some save games, like you guys know, of this nature before. I've never had a player come through my academy and be good like Dylan Turnbull has been. So for him to get the first ever goal in European football as someone who's Towlaw, born and bred. I'm thinking of Towel still. Towlaw, born and bred. Please help me. To get the goal, that's really nice. That's superb narrative, as I believe the kids would say. Anyway, Soretta throwing it down the line. Shvetsov was under it, but didn't get there. Andre is there. I feel like Andre and Leskinen, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just confirmation bias. I feel like they're at the heart of everything that we do. Just every time the ball comes to them, you anticipate a cutting open pass. Aurelio as well has been pretty involved in the play so far out at right back. Leskinen here, to Andre. GCL, Shvetsov, look at this passing and moving, trying to carve out an opportunity. Maybe Ox can deliver into the ball. He can. What a goal that is. What a goal that was just satisfying. Put it on repeat. Let me watch that again and soak it in. Just really nice working of the ball. You could say we worked the space well. We had 3 players queuing up in the box. Some nice movement by them all, really. And a little cool, calm and collected finish by GCL at the end of it. Makes me a very happy bunny. Shvetsov's been a bit quiet today. Let's bring in Charlie Brown. I am also going to bring in Makassi, and I'm going to bring him in controversially at centre-back. I know some people don't like to do subs with their centre-back. I'm one of those people usually, but I did look to loan out Makassi in the summer because I had an offer from AC Milan, but he decided he wanted to fight for his first team spot. And you know what? I kind of respect it, so I want to give him some opportunities. He's only 20 years old, has a lot of potential. I feel like it's centre-back between Makassi, Oga, Soretta, and also Douglas. We've got 4 centre-backs. There isn't a great deal of difference between them all. They've all kind of got their own little unique weaknesses and perks. Makassi can't header the ball for toffee, but he's really good at other stuff. Like, he's very technically gifted because he has experience playing centre mid. So it's kind of interesting. I feel like there's lots of positives and negatives to all the centre-back options we have. Anyway, Aurelio, questionable defending. Fortunately, Morrigan to the rescue. I think that's the first time we've seen him actually save the ball this game. Which, with 15 minutes left, kind of gives you a rough idea of how this match has played out. They have had opportunities, Basel, but they've not crafted out the same opportunities we have. That said, a goal now would make things a little squeaky bun time, wouldn't it? 13 minutes left. If they make it 2-1, we could be in danger. Oh, my word. I thought that was in for a second. That reminded me of the Southampton goal that you might remember from a couple of days ago at the edge of the box. Lazarus is struggling with fitness. We've got 1 sub left in our back pocket. Let's bring in Matasevic. I have been trying to play Matasevic a little bit, but he has underwhelmed me a little bit as of late. I feel like players like Alvarez perhaps overdue an opportunity in the team as Turnbull tackle flies in on him. It kind of got half to the ball, but he shrugged it off and continued on. We did give away the ball there, although Matasevic wins it back. Charlie Brown, what can you do? Lays it to Ox. He has a shot in him. Oh, my word. I thought the keeper tipped it over. Actually hit the woodwork. And with a minute left, I respect the ruthlessness of us here, because I believe that we're going to have the chance, obviously. I'm going to assume that, even though they're closing up. Morrigan and Ogre, they're not sure about each other yet. You know, it's like when you get 2 dogs or 2 animals of any kind, and you kind of have to slowly introduce them to each other. In the training grounds, we've had Ogre and we've had Morrigan peeking at each other, you know, under the door, playing a little bit, but we don't leave them in the same room together. You could see a little bit of a breakdown in the communication there. But we are going to win 2-0, and we're going to keep a second clean sheet of the season, which we needed more of. Obviously, with us having a few new additions at the back, that's always something that I'm wary of. There is certainly, from my experience in Football Manager, kind of a gelling period. You know, you can't massively overhaul a team and expect just it all to click right away. There is that kind of familiarity that players have to develop. And I feel like we're still very much in that kind of period of building some relationships. You can see Andre with 1 assist to his name, a superb performance by him. What a player Andre is. Like, I didn't really realise until recently, the only attributes he has below 11 are leadership, long throws, free kicks and corners. 4 attributes which, to be honest, I don't think really matter. I mean, does he actually have any 11s? He has a few 11s in the technicals, but in his mentals and his physicals, besides his leadership, everything is 12 or above. He's just incredibly consistent when it comes to his attributes, which is kind of ironic because his only downside is he's not a consistent performer. But, I mean, he's consistent in one way at least, isn't he? But anyway, that's going to wrap up today's episode. Bit of a weird one, I suppose. Not the most exciting of games, but a win on the board in Switzerland. And of course, we're going to be going on a European tour for the rest of this year. Next episode, a few trickier games. I feel like we've got a run of 4 home games in a row now. Man City is going to be tricky. They won the Champions League last year. They beat us in the FA Cup last year in the final. They won the Premier League. They're quite good. So they're going to be tricky. And then following on from that, we're going to be taking on Roma. 2 games to definitely keep your eyes out for. I hope to see you tomorrow for those. Thank you for watching as always. Let me know who your unsung hero, no, not your unsung hero, but the player that you're relating to at the most is, at the moment, the most is. I would be interested to know. I'm beginning to relate with Jackie Ogre. People are doubting you, mate. You're going to prove them wrong, Jackie. You're going to prove them wrong. And, well, hopefully tomorrow he'll be doing more of the same, because I thought he was quite good tonight. But yes, that is all from me today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's me, Jack, and I'm out.